¿Cómo están amigos y amigas? Bienvenidos a un nuevo video de Solo para Fanáticos de Wrestling en colaboración con Wrestling para Todos. En esta ocasión tenemos una nueva entrevista que hizo mi compañero Martín con el ex WCW y ex WWE Chuck Palumbo. Antes de comenzar con el video, no olviden dejar su like en el botoncito de aquí abajo y suscribirse a nuestro canal, que aquello nos ayuda muchísimo. Ahora sí, sin nada más que decir, los dejo con la entrevista con Chuck Palumbo.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the four-time WCW Tag Team Champion, two-time WWE Tag Team Champion, the main event, Chuck Palumbo. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, Martin. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. And the first thing I wanted to ask you is that you started your wrestling career in the WCW Power Plant. What was that process like?
Gosh, it wasn't easy. I didn't have any connections to wrestling. I didn't know anything about pro wrestling. And I've told the story before, but basically I saw an ad on TV when I was in college. I was on a basketball scholarship in college, Central Missouri State. I've never watched wrestling. It's final exam week. I'm flipping through the channels on the TV, and I believe it was Monday Nitro was on. And I saw two guys in the ring wrestling. I don't remember who they were, but I do remember they were exceptional athletes. So that's, it sparked my interest. So I watched for a little bit, and then the ad for the WCW Power Plant came on the television, and basically it said, "You want to be a wrestler? Join the WCW Power Plant where the big boys train." I think that was the phrase. And then I called the number. So I went into it blind. I didn't know how much of it was a work, as far as the wrestling term, a work, or real. I really didn't know. So basically I flew down to Atlanta for an initial tryout, and you may not heard about these tryouts, but it's pretty much a grueling 3-day weeding out process. You paid $250 or $300, whatever it was, with a cashier's check. You signed the waiver, and you tried to make it through the 3 days. So I made it through the 3 days, fortunately, and I came back. I went back to California, tried to scrounge together everything I could as far as money-wise, and myself, my 1-year-old daughter at the time, and her mom, we drove across country. Basically living out of trash. We had all our clothes in trash bags. We threw them in the truck, and we drove across country and wound up at the power plant. So, and then from there we started training. It was basically a 9-to-5 job without being paid, and you trained. You learned how to take bumps. We didn't really learn the psychology, but it was a lot of working out, a lot of calisthenics, a lot of bump taking, learning how to do the moves. Very paramilitary style as far as the discipline and everything. And then maybe 6 or 7 months later, they sent me to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I got some experience there. Just to back it up a bit, I ended up getting a training contract, I believe, at about maybe the 6-month mark, maybe. So that actually helped, because now I didn't have to worry about my financial situation. I could actually go and train, and provide for my family. So continued, got sent to New Japan, got some more experience. New Japan actually wanted me to stay. They invited me to stay. I told them I was on a training contract and I had a commitment with WCW. They wanted me to stay, and they wanted to sign me. But I ended up coming back and being thrown into a pay-per-view right away against Lex Luger, who was accompanied by Liz. So, I was green as can be, not much experience at all. And like I tell a lot of people, I learned on television. I mean, I did some house shows prior to that. I did some independents for a year, maybe in the southern states. Worked for Harley Race a little bit. Worked down south a little bit. There's a few different promoters. All the guys from the power plant, we all would travel together. We had a lot of fun, all of us. And yeah, next thing you know, I'm thrown on TV. And then soon after that, you know, they start the Natural Born Thrillers, which you may remember. And we had a really solid group of guys, a lot of hard workers, dedicated guys, young guys. We were hungry. So yeah, we were like a little family, the Natural Born Thrillers. Hung out together in the ring, outside of the ring, trained together. So it was a great time, great time.
Yeah, well, the next thing I wanted to ask is that back to the United States, when one of the things that you did in WCW when you got there was forming a team with Sean Stasiak called the Perfect Event. Did you like being in that team?
Yeah, yeah. You know, at the time, it was just about us trying to survive on TV and stay on TV and stay relative, right? Because, you know, we're just trying to build ourselves, build our brand, or, you know, build our characters, basically build our popularity. It's the wrestling business, right? So yeah, I was excited about it. Sean was a solid dude, good worker. He had some prior experience from the WWF. He had just came over. They weren't doing a bunch with me, and they weren't doing a bunch with him. And they put us together, and a lot of times that's how they do it. So it's almost how they stuck myself and Billy Gunn together, and it works. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cool. And the other team you mentioned, the Natural Born Thrillers with Sean O'Hare. Did you enjoy working with Sean? And what was your relationship with him like until he sadly passed away a few years ago?
Yeah. So Sean was a good guy. You know, incredible athlete. A lot of people will say, wow, this guy had the tools. Sean had some demons, but we got along. We got along fantastic. We hung out a lot outside the ring. We traveled together a lot. Wild guy, fun guy to be around. Yeah, you guys. I mean, you've seen the videos of him. You've seen the matches. Great build, great athlete. I believe he was on his way. Tons of untapped potential we never got to see where he could ultimately be. He was on his way, I believe. I know in his personal life he had been struggling with some things. And then towards the end, just, you know, after he had left WWE and, you know, I had left, we kind of went our own ways. We didn't hang out a lot, but he was the kind of guy, well, number one, he was on the East Coast, I was on the West Coast. But he was the kind of guy that if we hadn't spoke for a while and then we spoke or hung out, we would pick right up. He's a good dude. So, you know, it's tragic because, you know, he had so much potential. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, I think his personal demons got the best of him. But I really enjoyed our friendship and the time that we spent together.
Very cool. And you worked for WCW until the very end, even winning a match on the last show. What was the locker room environment like in this last few months?
The last few months?
Yeah. The last few months of WCW.
Well, you know, number one, you hear the talk, right? So you're not sure what's happening. So on one side of things, it's a scary time because you don't know where you're going to end up. Are you going to have a job? Are you going to get picked up by Vince? When you do get picked up by Vince, are they going to do anything with you? There had been a reputation of, you know, Vince scrapping characters when they got to WWF. We knew a lot of times that guys that had come from WCW to go to WWF, they never really did much with them. So yeah, it was a scary time because we didn't know. But at the same time, we were young. We were excited. We thought to ourselves, hey, if we do get over there, we're going to try to make something happen. So, I mean, there were mixed feelings. But, you know, it was kind of a bummer in a way because, you know, all of us from the power plant, we were working hard. We were finally on TV. We were finally starting to do something. Yes, you know, a lot of people call it the downfall of the WCW. Whose fault was that? You know, there's a lot of contributing factors, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was just a scary time because we didn't have the answers, and it was very hush hush. Johnny Ace had come in, and the vibe was different. It was just the vibe was different. And when everybody's uneasy, the locker room's not a great place to be, you know. So, but you know, obviously, it depended where you were too in the company, right? Like if you're a top guy, you know, or you know, you're a mid-card guy like us. I mean, it depends. So,
yeah,
but
I agree.
ultimately, we thought we might get a shot in WWF, so we were going to try to grab that opportunity and run with it. So.
Yeah, well, it's good that you mentioned that because you made your debut in WWE 3 months after WCW shut down. How did you feel about the transition from WCW to WWE? Were they too different to work with?
So you know, it's funny. We always heard that, and I remember JR telling me a couple of times, "Oh, the locker room's different in WWF. It's a better environment." No, it wasn't. Actually, at the time, I was having a lot more fun in the WCW locker room. The senior guys, the experienced guys, the Kurt Hennings, the Kevin Nashes, the Scott Steiners, those guys were helping us. We came over to WWF, and it was a battle. It was a battle. And I get it, right? There's, you know, 2 competing companies for so long, but I've told people before, you know, the boys should have bonded right off the bat and stuck together. They could have changed the business. Unfortunately, the business had a big downfall after that. I know the economy plays a role in that, but also, you know, I don't think business was conducted as it could have been. Could I have changed it? No, that was above my pay grade. But a lot of moving pieces. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Vince had just kind of ended the XFL thing. It didn't work at the time. Does that make sense? So I'm sure, you know, obviously there was a financial impact, right? He's got to recover some money. I don't know the details on it. I'm speculating, but yeah, it was okay. I mean, again, I never felt that they used us properly, but at the same time, I was happy they were using us. And, you know, we're young guys on TV. We're pro wrestlers. So it was a big deal. Still a big deal. I was still excited, but there was some uneasiness.
Yeah. Yeah, well, after the invasion angle ended, you started a team with Billy Gunn, becoming 2-time WWE Tag Team Champions, and you also defeated the APA, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudleys at WrestleMania 18. How do you remember your first WrestleMania?
Amazing. I remember walking down to the ring with Billy, and I want to say it was in Canada, Toronto, maybe?
Toronto.
Air Canada Center, maybe?
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure about the building, but it was Canada.
But Toronto, right?
Yeah. Toronto.
Yeah, so I remember there was like 60 or 70,000 people, whatever it was, and I just remember walking down to the ring going, oh my gosh, this is something. You know, I come from humble beginnings, small town, you know, to be able to get where I got, I was completely content. I was doing what no one had ever done where I come from. So I was content, but it was exciting. I mean, here I am working with some great talent. All the talent in the ring were great. My tag team partner, legendary talent. So I was very happy, very excited. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, just to be there was special.
Very good. And during your tenure teaming with Billy, you had the chance to face one of the biggest legends in wrestling history, Hulk Hogan. What was that experience like?
That was huge for me. Never a wrestling fan growing up, but obviously everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is.
Yeah.
He's an icon, legendary. And he put, you know, once the whole cable television thing evolved, he kind of put wrestling on the map. Crossover into, you know, the movie business. So, I mean, yeah, legendary. Super excited about that. It was in Boston, which is close to where I grew up in Rhode Island. So a lot of my friends came up to the show, and it was kind of cool. Here I am, a local kid, wrestling against Hulk Hogan. So just, again, one of those moments where I'm just super happy to be here. I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be on this platform or this stage. So yeah, super exciting.
Yeah, very cool. And after your team with Billy disbanded, you were a part of the FBI alongside Nucio and Jenny Scamboli. Did you like that team, and why do you think it didn't go further?
Yeah, so fantastic team, fantastic individuals. Johnny Stamboli, great guy, still a great friend. Same with Nunzio, great guy, great friend. Those guys, again, haven't seen them in a while. Meet up somewhere or talk on the phone, and it's like we never missed a beat. It's good people. So we had a lot of fun. We worked well together. Just a good, solid team. I think the dynamic between the team, we all had something to offer, and it was working out well. We had some good runs with Taker. We had some good runs with Brock Lesnar. Yeah, it was going great, I thought, but there was a lot of turbulence within the company at the time. One or two people's opinion of a person, a wrestler, a stable, one or two people's opinion can really play a role. So I don't have the answer. When it comes down to it, I don't know why they disbanded us. But when I talk to people, fans or people who watched in that era, they really love those guys. They love that the characters. They thought they were entertaining. I remember we got great crowd response, but you never know why. You never know why.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you were out of WWE for a couple of years. During that time, you got to wrestle in All Japan Pro Wrestling and a few promotions in Mexico. Did you enjoy that time traveling the world?
That was a fantastic time. I remember I spent a lot of time in Japan with All Japan Pro Wrestling. Johnny Stamboli was with me. It was working. There was a gentleman by the name of Taru over there. We formed a team over there called the Voodoo Murders. Tough to translate what that really means as far as how they take it. The Japanese are a little different than us. But great time over there. And then when we weren't there, we would go to Mexico City. And we spent some time in Italy. So yeah, great time, making great money, and I'm with my friend. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, right? You're out there traveling, having a lot of fun with people that you enjoy being with. I mean, doesn't get any better than that. Some of the best times was that gap when I left WWE before I came back. Great time.
Yeah, very cool. And you came back to WWE with a biker gimmick that was maybe closer to your real personality than any other character, since you had a passion for motorcycles. Did you enjoy that gimmick?
I enjoyed it. In the beginning, it started off right, but eventually the character and the way they developed it took like a negative turn. When I started working with McCool, and we started doing that kind of like crazy, jealous boyfriend thing, and there was a little bit of domestic violence involved and stuff. It got distasteful. And then I'm not sure what happened after that. Again, you never know. There's no reason or rhyme a lot of times. But in the beginning, I enjoyed it because, there's a couple things going on. And you had pop culture, right? A lot of the motorcycle shows and the building shows, the stuff that's super popular now, like on the Discovery Channel, all those other channels, that stuff is very popular. All those reality shows that are based on like the trades and building and motorsports, and that stuff is so, people love it, right? It's Americana. That was the whole idea, right? It was the timing with pop culture, the motorcycles, the fact that I was a legit motorcycle builder, a legit car guy. I believe it could have worked and could have went further. But at the time, I don't believe the WWE knew really what to do with it or where I was coming from. Vince is a big motorsport guy, loves motorcycles and stuff like that. I thought he got it a bit, but he's got his hands on a lot of different things. I mean, the writers, you never know. A lot of those kids that write, I don't, nice guys, I get it, but a lot of them just don't get it all the time, unfortunately. So, but I enjoyed it. I believe the good thing about it, the really good thing about it is I knew when I went into it that I wasn't going to be there for that long. I knew I had a few years left. That contract I had only signed for 2 years, 06 to 08. I knew I wanted to get my motorcycle business off the ground. So it was a great platform. I was wearing my shop shirts on TV. No one asked me about them. I just started wearing them. I was riding the motorcycles on TV. The vignettes that we did, which I wish I could find those vignettes because those were a lot of fun. The vignettes we did, I was using my personal bikes, some of my personal vehicles, and I was making the wrestling money, so I was sure to stop buying equipment. So I was buying machines, welders and lathes and milling machines and different tools, specialty tools, because that stuff's pretty pricey. So I was starting to gather that stuff.
The next thing I wanted to ask you is that if you have to choose, what do you consider to be the most important or moment in your career?
That's a tough one. Single moment, I really don't have a single moment that was most important. I'm not one of those guys who remembers all my matches or what happened in the match. I just never been that guy. It was more about just the experience with my friends and the camaraderie and stuff like that. I'll say that the time I spent in Atlanta, Georgia, with the guys from the power plant was probably one of the greatest times in my life. When you have a group of guys who bond and are all working towards the same goal and are willing to make sacrifices, huge sacrifices to get there, you appreciate that. You appreciate that. So, and you have their support and you support them. So that was probably, and we had so much fun. So that would probably be my favorite time in the business. Working with Billy Gunn, the fact that I had the opportunity to learn from him, that was huge. He taught me a lot. So those are two moments or two, time periods that I really enjoyed.
Perfect. Then the last thing, you started a YouTube channel called Chuck Palumbo. Can you tell us a little bit about this project and what do you do in it?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember, but after wrestling and I had to shop, I got picked up by Discovery Channel to do some shows on Discovery Channel, Lords of the Car Hordes and Rusted Development, which are still airing now. They have them on, I think, Amazon Prime and stuff like that. But anyway, so that kind of sparked an interest. I thought, well, I'm doing that with them. I could probably do something similar on my own. And I'm not to that point yet, but what the channel is basically the channel just is about me and what I do on a daily basis. And it's all about the trades, building things, fabricating, stuff like that. Right now, we're in the process of restoring a home from 1924. So I'm showing kind of the ins and outs, not in great detail, but just to let the people know what I'm doing and, maybe inspire a few people who might want to try it. So on that same property, we just finished actually a 1,500 square foot shop, steel building. And we're going to outfit that shop again. And then we're going to continue on with the kind of stuff that I was doing with Discovery Channel. So we'll continue on with car builds, car restorations, meeting different people in the automotive industry. And then we'll get into motorcycles, motorcycle builds, bringing people, different talents in to work with me. Ultimately, I'd love to start bringing people who are fans of the show, fly them in and maybe have them work on a project with me, things like that. So, but right now, I just wanted to give the audience a background of how we're starting this. It's just a few of us guys. We roll our sleeves up and we do the work ourselves. There's no mystery men that come in when the camera shuts off. So it's bluegrass. It's not fancy. It's nothing fancy. It's more of like a vlog type of thing. But it's real. So it's starting to build a little steam. Nothing in compared to some of these shows got, millions of followers and tens of thousands. But hey, brick and mortar style, we'll build it up and we'll make it into something.
Pretty cool. And before you go, can you please send a message to our Latin American fans and also where they can follow you on social networks?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not a big social media guy. I just have an Instagram and it's just Chuck Palumbo. And yeah, please take a look. Oh, yeah, on the Instagram, basically, I highlight most of my projects and stuff like that. But yeah, I appreciate it. Come check it out.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for your time, Chuck. It was a very good interview, and take care. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too.